check out the latest blog post. And if you want to talk to me, I'll have the icon right here, somewhere where you can set up a consultation. But with that, let's get into the purpose of this video, of this hustler mindset philosophy episode. I talk to a lot of people. Read the comments. I may not answer all of them, but I read all of them. And people are looking for this sure thing that's promise. They're looking for a promise. They're looking for a guarantee, something that is just going to happen no matter what. Then, if people use that in their marketing literature, they use that in their sales literature, it's just really, really dangerous. All right, let's go from a good point where you can understand what I'm talking about. Say I have 10 people who want to take the course, and all 10 people want a guarantee. And I was foolish enough because I do make a guarantee, but it's a qualified guarantee. If you do the work, you will be successful, which is true. This is proven. This is what I do to make my thing happen. So I know it works, and it's worked for me, and it's worked for other people. However, 10 people. Out of the 10 people, you've got 3 who are serious as hell. I mean, they're just like, I'm ready. I just need the right information. I'm going to work from sun up to sundown. I'm going to make it happen. I'm not going to watch television. I'm not going on vacation. I'm not doing any of this stuff because I want to make this happen. Then the other 7, 4 kind of, well, my job, I hate it, but it pays the bills, and I get to go to Cancun, and I can take the weekends off, and really, I'm not working that hard. It's just I feel dissatisfied, not happy. So you got 4 like that, and then you have the other 3 who are looking for miracles. I paid $29.99. I better get my money's worth, fool. I need to see some activity. I need to see some work. I need to see some production. Yeah, I paid you $29.99. So yeah, I should be making at least 10 G's from that, trying to get a return on my investment. Now, I don't know this. All I see, because they're over here, they're here. The 10 people are here, and I'm here. And all I see is the front, that it's 1 through 10. I don't know what's going on up here. I have no clue to attributes, talent, determination, skill. I have no clue. So I'm dealing with 10 distinct personalities, 10 distinct living organisms that all are different, perform different, look different, speak differently, yet they all want the same guarantee. So I'll go ahead and give that guarantee just without, not a qualified guarantee, to the 3, and they're cool and it happens. But the other 7 feel cheated. They feel offended. It's like, he told me this was going to happen and it didn't happen. And, I'm upset. I'm not happy. I'm just not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. And you have this going on internally, this tug of war. And the reason I'm talking about this and really going at length with it is, where is the intellectual curiosity for anything today? I was putting together courses, sessions for Project YouTube, and I do a great deal of research, but I found some parts of YouTube I never knew existed before. I found something like, oh, I could do this. I got excited. I was just looking. It was just like, oh, really? Who knew? Is it going to work? Don't care. Don't know. but it's exciting. It's like, I can do this, I can try. Then you have people who that's not good enough, because I feel in 2015, with everything that's going on, opportunity is wide open for anyone. However, if you don't have the right eyesight, if you have the wrong mindset, if you have a fixed mindset, there's a book, I can't remember it because I read the title and I read the, what you could read on Amazon, and I didn't buy it, but it's on the list. And it talks about a fixed mindset. And the people in life who are more successful have a malleable or adjustable mindset. But the people with the fixed mindset, it's like you have to just break their mind so something new could happen. Was having a conversation on my personal Facebook page about education. Student loan debt, this is a problem. It's a big problem. You have person after person after person said, I went to school, I got a 3.5, I got a 3.9, I got a degree, and I got 3 jobs, and I still can't make ends meet. Ends are like this. No, they can't meet. The ends ain't meeting. Nothing's happening. And they're feeling like, I've been bamboozled, led astray. Someone has pulled an act of duplicity on me. And they're putting up the videos, and you're seeing this. And then I put it on my page, and then I offended 2 people. Pretty much the majority of people liked it, and they were commenting. Many people were coming. They had degrees, and they had experienced what the people in the video had experienced. So here's this collective of information and experiences. And then these 2 people are like, nah, nah, that ain't it. Nah, go get a degree. Doesn't matter what degree, just get one. See, and then, we're going back and forth, and I'm battling. And the thing is, since I've been on YouTube, and I get, I don't know how many comments a day. And I've had years of going back and forth with people. And the quickest way to shut a troll down is with logic, statistics, and truth. Because at that point, they don't have anything to do. So I was like, boom, boom. And then it was just like, well, that's all you got is a video. That's all you got is a study. That's all you got is a current website. And I'm just like, yeah. Then I offended someone. And this is someone I know off Facebook, knew his story, knew how he struggled with his business. He's an artist, and he never was able to sustain a lifestyle, period. Not just a desirable lifestyle, but he could never live off his art. And there are many artists and songwriters and writers who are in that spot, and they just can't do it. And I remember I was in the store talking business, and I had bought the BMW, and it used to be, let's just say used to be, because we're no longer those type of friends. And I rolled over to his place, and he was happy, and we were cool. But at some point, shit switched. And then he said, you've had some success. Now, this is in the comments. You've had some success. You just think how much further you would have went if you had education. And I was like, ooh, you really? Okay. So I hit him up with, what are you talking about? I have more education than you. And I just went down and laid out facts. And it's like, unlike you, I haven't had a job in 15 years. I can live off my art. Been doing it since 2010. I can live off my intellectual property. I didn't have to leave Atlanta to make money. And he came up with some response, which I didn't read because I was done at that point. And it was just like, I never knew how many people were jealous of me until it was like that moment that it happened. And the reason I'm telling you this, and the reason I'm sharing this with you is, as you become successful, some of you're going to go through this too. You're going to have people who were down with you. You shared lunch, you helped each other with your rent. And once your velocity escapes their stratosphere, and they see, and then they start going like, whoa, 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 we're from the same place. And you'll secretly find out things about them that they've thought about you all along, but you never knew. Because as long as you were here and they were here, it was cool. And when you got here, it was still cool. But when you got here, oh shit. And when you got here, fuck you. And when you got here, that motherfucker think he better than us. The thing is, you did change and they didn't. That's the problem. You changed tremendously and they didn't. They're in the same spot. And this comes back to being intellectually curious. I have done, and I'm going to give you a stat, and this is something no one talks about in this educational debate. And this is the point, one of the points I made. And well, this is another point. Currently, in the United States of America, every day, well, every month, 320, 330 people become 18. The age of an adult when you can do stuff, sign contracts and stuff. Some states it's 21, but 18, 21. Every month, 330 people hit that stage. We're producing 250,000 jobs per month. So just for those people who are emerging adults, there are not enough jobs. Fact. That's a fact. Look it up. Don't take my word for it. Go to the Census Bureau, crunch the numbers. You'll see what I say is true. What's another fact? People are staying in their jobs longer. People are not retiring like they used to. Fact. So you've got not enough jobs being produced for people who are emerging adults. You have people who should be retired but can't, not leaving their jobs, and jobs are disappearing. Now, just those three factors alone, that's a problem. And that comes from intellectual pursuit of the truth, of crunching numbers, going and looking at statistics and having the ability of critical thought. And something else. And this is why you should be curious. And this is, like I said, do this, listen to this video and do your own research and then come back and tell me I'm wrong. Because see, if you do your research, you're not going to come back and tell me I'm wrong. If you go off of what you think it should be, yeah, you go like, oh, you're wrong. And you're going to go off how you feel. Another thing about being curious. Someone said the people with the most education make the most money. And that's 100% true. 100% true. Now that brings the question is, what is education? Going back during the comments, it was like Sean Collins has a degree. No, he doesn't. He has an honorary degree. Someone said, bam, here you're honorary. You get to wear the robe. We have a ceremony for you. More than likely, he gave us a check and you got something to hang on your wall. He didn't go to school. He was in school. He didn't spend much time. He was too busy working on his business, which at 750 million net worth was the better choice. And when you have people who refuse to accept the truth, who refuse, it just tells you that they stop learning. See, there's no such thing as educated. There is educating yourself on a continuing basis, because if you look at all of the great research scientists, if you look at the philosophers, if you look at the great musicians, they never, ever stop studying their craft and innovating. There is no such thing as educated. They die and it's like, you look back, okay, they were educated, because the scale keeps sliding. Coltrane was told that he didn't have any talent when he first started. He was, no, you don't have any talent. He didn't accept that. And see, this is another thing about being curious and studying. When you collect a great deal of knowledge, you start to formulate your own philosophy. You start to see dots and stuff connecting. Coltrane, he said, I don't accept that. I'm not going to wait on your validation of my abilities. I'm going to let my abilities validate my abilities. See, he gave himself permission to be successful. He's like, okay, yeah, you're the music teacher, yeah, but you know what? I'm still going to try. I'm still going to be intellectually curious. I'm going to still put myself out there. And if I fail, I fail. And we know the story. One of the greatest jazz musicians ever. And he was told he didn't have any talent. When you wait on other people to validate your whatever versus you validating it through action and accomplishment, you can't validate with just I am. It doesn't work. It's false. It's just totally it's self-subterfuge. It's just false. But if you say, I think I can do this, and then you go out and do it, then you validate yourself. And when you validate yourself over and over and over, then you're not waiting on the approval of whoever may be on the approval committee that you want to be part of. I've had all kinds of conversations with people from all over the world, every culture, and the only people who've ever called me arrogant have shown signs of self-hate, mediocrity, and low self-esteem. Because when I was doing the Uber thing, I had a dude in the front seat, 50 mil. We're sitting there talking shop, talking about stuff, and I'm saying stuff. And I wrote, he's like, hey, here's my card. We need to connect. I don't get that when I'm dealing with other people who have pushed themselves. And I'll tell you a story about how I grew here on YouTube. This is the being curious part. I had another channel and I had put up some bullshit because, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was making a big mistake by having a channel that was going to talk about current events. So I was just all over the place, because if you just put up something saucy, it would just go crazy. And then I did this thing about Halle Berry. And I don't know her. I think I know of her. I've heard things, but really knowing her, I have no clue who she is as a person. So I started making these assumptions. I did a video. Then 6 months later, I got attacked. I had people saying stuff about me that wasn't true. People, and just like, damn, this is really fucked up. And you did the same shit. So I went back and I took the video down. I took all of those videos down and started acting and operating in truth. It's like, if I know, I'll talk about it. If I don't know, I don't talk about it. Like many people will say, hey, what about this? I'll just like strip. I don't know anything about that. I'm not going to fake the fun. I don't know. And saying I don't know is not a problem. I remember years ago, I was at work and I was in the break room and I said, oh, I made a mistake. And 3 women that lost their damn minds. It's like, whoa, did you just, I've never heard a man admit. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, you just don't hear that. That's like, mistakes are cool. We make mistakes. We're human. We're full of fallacy. We're full of errors. That's just how it is. And I'll never forget that. Just the look on her face. I don't play the gender roles of a man is always right. A woman is always wrong. There are people who are right. And I go on the classification of people. There are some people who are right. There's some people who are wrong. Sometimes men are wrong, sometimes women are wrong. Sometimes men are right, sometimes women are right. That's just simple common logic. But people want to assign this label of, if you're a woman, this is all you're going to do. If you're a man, this is all you're going to do. And the minute you try to leap out that box, people got a problem because they don't have a proper label to identify you. Because they're not intellectually curious to realize that you can be a great fashion designer and male and not gay. You could be a great caregiver for your children and not be a female. We see evidence all around, but people are like, I see it, but no. I'm not accepting it. I know it's there. And yeah, I can even poke it, but no. I can't. My mind is not big enough to contain that concept. So when you're having these conversations with people and they come at you with, I'm right, you're wrong, and there's no analysis. And sometimes there's a situation where they're right and you're wrong. I've been in that situation. I'm like, damn, didn't do my research. Damn, I wasn't prepared. All right, I fucked up. And when you can do that, you can grow as a person. But the minute you're like, nah, it's them. It's always them. And I've said this before, and I say it again. If you got a problem dating, the problem is you. If you can't get what you want, whether it's pussy, a relationship, or marriage, or dick, if you're a girl, that's what you like, the problem is you. And this is it. And I talk about it in Disruptive Mating. You've never identified what's for you. You've taken what society says you should have and put supreme importance on that, but it's not your heartbeat. It's not what you really want. And that's why you're dissatisfied, because you were living your life for other people. And then when you meet someone like me, who I don't live my life for other people, I live my life for me. And that sounds really selfish and very arrogant to someone who is living a low self-esteem life, someone who's living a life that they've never really accomplished any of the things they wanted to accomplish. Yeah, they hate a person like me because I don't give a fuck. And I'll say that. And it's a problem because I don't bow down to convention. Fuck convention. Convention is the reason that people like me, at one point, it was legal for me to be enslaved and to be beat. Yeah, it was legal for me to be a slave, be beat, be castrated. That shit was legal because that was conventional thinking. That was the way of the land. And it was the way of the land for a long fucking time. The way of the land was a woman wasn't shit, couldn't vote, couldn't work, got her ass beat, couldn't speak. That was conventional thinking at a certain period in time. So what I'm telling you is, just because it's conventional thinking doesn't mean that shit's right. And if you go through intellectual pursuit, if you know, and the obtainment of rigorous knowledge, and you start looking at this stuff, you'll be like, a lot of shit's fucked up. I did a video right at the height of the recession called the Man Session, because for the first time, white dudes with degrees were struggling. Typically, a recession hits people without education. It hits people. See, and that's something else I'm gonna get to in a minute. You had a lot of white men who were struggling like a motherfucker. And then I put up and people were like, a white dude, you'd be all right. White privilege, credit. And I'm just like, no. But once again, I lived in the position where when the recession hit, and because it started in 2006, because I noticed my customer base was shifting in 2006 because people were feeling the crunch. So I'm boots on the ground. I was in that situation. I was getting real-time evidence, and people are like, well, that's just anecdotal. And I said, this shit is horrible, and a lot of people are going to be hurt. And right now, you have a lot of young white kids who can't find jobs, and they have degrees. So if that's privilege, I would hate to be seeing what fucked is, because a lot of them are just fucked. They're not ever going to have that student loan debt. They're not ever going to get the job they want because they got the wrong way of thinking. If they adjust their mindsets, yeah, that should have changed. But as long as they keep going with conventional thinking, and you like, it's just like hitting your head up against the wall. Why am I bleeding? Because you're hitting your head against the wall. No, I'm not. I'm doing conventional thinking. And I look at that, and I got data and stuff that people don't have because of YouTube. There's interactions with the public. There's interactions with people literally around the world. And in this thing, a whole of, you know, I love Dr. Claude Anderson, and I believe a lot of what he says because he put it down. You know, true power comes from having an economic base. And that's one of the things I was having with these divergent forces. And I didn't even get into it because this is what I did for myself, and I know it to be true. First thing you do, you got to get that economic base. And when I say economic base, you don't have to be a billionaire. You don't have to be a millionaire. I've said this a million times. I'm going to say it again today. If you get your house paid off, you get your car paid off, it's amazing on how little money you can live large on. Those two things keep people broke. Those two things. And first thing is you got to get that economic base. And then once you get that economic base, then you work on the system, the judicial system. Then you work on the political system. Then you work on the community. And the last fucking thing you do is education. Because without that economic base, as we're seeing with many people, You have all this education, but you can't find a job. But if you had the economic base where your father, your uncle, or someone you knew that was in your circle owned the business, as soon as you got that degree, they said, welcome on, Johnny. Come on in, Leroy. Shaniqua, bring your ass over here. I got a job for you in benefits. That's power. That's power. When you have the ability to give someone a job, that is a godlike ability in these days and times, because you can change someone's life by giving them a job. That's what true power. You once again, like will come. Someone gave him a degree. It's real nice. He's like, yeah, this is nice. Thank you. But it means nothing to his economic base. Sean Combs built up his economic base to the point where he didn't even have to invest in his partnerships. People gave him equity in companies because he could bring them money. That's how strong his base was. That was one of the reasons he was able to get away with so much of the shit that he got away with. Because there's a strong economic base. I'm going to tell you someone else has a strong economic base, and Donald Trump is feeling it. Hispanics. Those motherfuckers banded together, started doing public announcements and open letters to Donald Trump, and he started losing sponsors like a ship that had 8 holes in it was taking on water. It's like, oh, we're not fucking with Trump no more. No, fuck, nope. They were leaving him. Now, understand, if they didn't have power and they didn't have economic clout, those sponsors wouldn't have gave a damn. But they're like, oh, we're not going to pair Hispanics in the United States are going to overtake black people as the second largest group of folks in America, if it hasn't already happened, which means that's a very powerful economic bloc. And unlike black people, they work together. So these sponsors who have these statistics, because when you talk to marketers, real marketers, not bullshit marketers, they predict trends years in advance. And it's not like just tomorrow. It's like, okay, what's going to happen 5 years from now? What's going to happen 10 years from now? And they see what's going to happen. This huge Hispanic base is going to be a power construct. And they're like, we're not going to offend them over this one racist fuck. Money talks, bullshit walks. They got money, they got power in their cult, and they're organized in their building. They're not like apologizing after someone assassinates their family members. They're not doing that shit. They're not taking it. They're not fucking having it. Those folks didn't even have enough time to process their grief to really apologize and forgive. That shit was lip service, and it was fucking disgusting. Someone kills your blood in a racist manner, and you're going to apologize mere days after their bodies aren't even cold. What kind of bullshit that is? That's a fear-based policy. It's like, we have no power, so we're told that we must apologize, so we will apologize. That's bullshit. Been me, that motherfucker be dead right now. And no, I wouldn't just go shoot him in the head in front of public. Oh no, I'll just pull up my sniper skills. And one day when they're taking his ass to court, and I get in my van and dip off and never tell a soul, but his fucking ass wouldn't be living. None of this forgiveness shit. And that's how a lot of people operate. They do shit and they don't talk about it. And they don't come on YouTube and they don't go out and buy fake money and flex and shit. And that's just the reality. That's just the reality. So when you have all of this stuff and you're not curious, you're missing out on 90% of the world. Another thing I hear is like, people don't want to waste time. Valid concern. It's a valid concern. Time is a finite construct in your life as a human being. You don't know how much time you have. And that goes for anyone, even if you're a kid. I used to work in a pediatric hospital. I've seen a lot of kids die. It's a very, very fucked up thing to see a 6-year-old die, or to watch a 6-year-old die from cancer or some other horrible disease. It's crazy. One day they're there, next day they're not looking so good. A few days later, they're gone. I mean, I've actually gone in the room and was talking to someone and they died while I was in the room. Do you know what a fucked up feeling that is? It's like shit flatlines. You got to go tell the nurse. You got to be the one to tell someone, it's like, oh, so-and-so just died. That is not fun. Because every time you encounter some shit like that, you think of your own mortality. Because it's like, right? You can't ignore it. It's in your face. It's just, I just spoke to her this morning. She's gone. I just spoke to him this morning. He's gone. Shit is real. And it makes clarity very strong. So yeah, time is limited, but how much time did you use watching TV and bullshitting and gossiping and playing around on Facebook? If you took that time, which you're already expending or spending, and used it for intellectual pursuits and learned and built yourself and were just curious, and you took something you didn't know about, and it's like, I'm going to listen, I'm going to explore this. I'm going to pick up this hobby. I'm going to do this. So many people, because they were curious and gained skill sets because they were curious, were able to monetize those things later. I started YouTube as a marketing arm based on my sales training. I knew that I needed some way to market. I had a book. No one knew who the fuck I was. It's like, hey, I'm going to Cameron. I got a storage auction book. So what? I don't know you. Give you money. And there's a lot of people. I want to say thanks to the people who are listening to voicemail and actually coming with better responses. I appreciate that, because I talked to everybody that wanted to talk to sell that 1995 book. I talked hours on the phone with people about this, and I'm just being helpful and sharing and giving and giving. And that's when people are like, well, just give, and people will just feel like, no, the fuck they will not. No, they will not. Some will, most will not, because the niche is predicated with people who are looking to make some extra money because they're in a financial tsunami. These folks are not flush. People who are flush go open up a McDonald's or a Subway. People who are broke as shit get into hustling because it's a way to turn 15 cents into $1 for real. That's why they get into it, because of the margin and the potential and the upside. It's not because they got a bunch of cash. It's not because they live in large. They're broke as fuck. So that's one of the reasons that when I made the shift, so many people were mad. And I mean, there were people in Hangouts like, if Glendon Cameron is so good doing blah, 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 why isn't he doing this? And, I just sat back and like, Glendon Cameron does what the fuck Glendon Cameron wants to do. Yes, I'm talking about myself in the third person. I never thought I would do that, and that shit just slipped out. And it's because of self-definition and giving myself permission to explore these things and permission to move forward. And you can give yourself permission to do this. And when you give yourself permission, you get that godlike power of hiring, because you just hired yourself to be bigger and better than you are. That's scary for people. Change is scary. Change is really, really scary for a lot of people. Change is like the 20-foot Bigfoot werewolf combo that eats you up every morning and just swallows your dreams every day and just laughs at you, because chances are you will fail. Chances are you will go down some rabbit holes. Chances are you'll do all this work and it just won't pan out. But what you're missing is, during that process, you're building a skill set. You may not have a use for it. You can't monetize it, but you're building it. And that's the power of being curious. When I was a kid, there was Popular Mechanics. There was all kind of magazines about crafts. Model cars were big, where you would just buy this box with this car, and it was just plastic pieces, and you had to get an X-Acto knife and cut them down and paint it. And there was just certain levels. And there were some people who were so proficient at building these model cars that they became collectible and rare. I lived in a childhood of exploration, being curious, and doing stuff. People are afraid to do stuff. People are really, really wary. And I read this quote about, if you're going to fail, just be careful. Don't fail too big. So many people have been. Steve Jobs, he got fired from that's kind of failing big. Getting fired from the shit that you started. And it went so bad and they got so desperate, they hired his ass back. Redemption like a motherfucker. But You be curious. Do not just sit up there hoping and wishing and wanting and waiting for the right time to do whatever, and the stars and the universe and everything aligns in that perfect time, and then you can go do. No, do it now. Do it now. Do it today. Start working on it today. If you got 15 minutes, work on it. Take those 15 minutes, work on it. Do it today. Put that stuff together, because when you're curious, it's like learning new words. When you learn one new word, you usually learn 5 to 10 more, because you learn that one. When you're curious, that one thing you learn, the dividends and byproducts of, you'll learn 5 or 10 more things, or even more, because you go down in there and it's like, oh, this is how to do this. No, this is how to do this. One day, and this is funny, and this guy is David Walsh. He has a channel talking about videos. And he put a video up, and this is just me spending all day watching videos, just getting deep in it. And I see it all the time. People are like, well, you know, the annotations are limited. You can do merch. You can do an associated website. Well, there's this WordPress plugin called Pretty Link, which operates off of your URL for your associated website. And you can send traffic wherever the hell you want, because it'll turn it into a redirect. So it'll go to your blog for a second, then go wherever. You can send traffic anywhere you want. And it's been around for a long time. And there's a lot of people that just don't know about it, have no clue, because they're not intellectually curious. They're not. It's just like, well, you know, I can't do it. I look 5 minutes, just can't be done. I found that probably my 6 hour of watching videos that day. Because it's like, today is a YouTube day. I'm just going to watch videos. I need to learn more because I'm frustrated and I need answers. And that 6 hours, I can tell you that one piece of information is responsible for a lot of fucking money in my life. That one piece of information, because I was intellectually curious. And then I don't look at it as like, I spent 6 hours and a lot of that shit I can't use. Oh God, it's horrible. No, I will do another 6 hours doing that, or another 7, or another day, because once you accumulate this experience, you're accumulating a database. You're accumulating connection points. And see, the more data that you collect, the points of connections get smaller. The less data that you have, the points of connection, it's like this. So cram your mind full of information, be curious, explore, learn, and you'll go take this cooking class, and it'll give you an idea for a video that's completely unrelated to cooking class, because of one thing you learned in that cooking class that you can use in your video. By being curious and open, by letting things in and accepting it. I'll be 49 this year, and I had a lot of people who are my age who are like, oh, how to do YouTube. And what they're really saying is, do you have a solution where I can start a channel and be like yours? And spend maybe 3 months doing that. You got something like that, buddy? You know what's funny? I do. And you know what's funny? I would not ever give that shit away. I'm selling that shit like a motherfucker. Oh yeah, you could do it in 3 months. I've seen people create channels and get up to 200 million views in a year. It's doable. You got to be in the right niche, but it's doable. Oh yeah, I can help them out. But one offered me dinner, and another one was like, well, let's meet. I got you. Then it changed, and then they wanted to meet at like Starbucks. And I was like, I'm not meeting you in Starbucks to do this. We had an agreement, and I was being charitable, and you switched up. I'm not doing it, and we haven't hooked up. Another thing, as you become intellectually curious and you study and you read books and you get information, you're going to learn that it's okay to say no. The sooner you can get to being able to say no as a business owner and not lose sleep over it, you're going to be good to go. I was the person that fired people because I could fire someone and go home and just be knocked out, because if someone got fired, they got fired because they were harmful to the asset. It wasn't even personal. It's just like, no, you are treating asset really wrong here. We can't have that here in the Kingdom Glendon. No. You have to be exiled. Walk the plank, bitch. Splash. And one of my mentors said this: you don't fire people. People usually fire themselves. And I found that to be very true. Very, very true. When I got laid off, I fired myself because I didn't understand the game. I didn't understand how things truly work because I was just going in there. I'm a good employee. I'm doing a hard job. They love me, right? No. Then it got to the point where I became an asset and I became valuable, and I would like talk to so-and-so and get me in front of so-and-so, and the next day I'd be working because I learned that game. When you walk through the door with value, it's not a conversation of if you're going to work for them. It's a conversation or they're going to pay you enough for you to exchange your value for their money. That's the conversation you want to have. You don't want to be, I got my resume here. You gonna hire me? Please? Come on, I need a job. I gotta buy some Pampers. That's not going to get you in, but this will. I was looking online and I see that you've been struggling, and I found out that your revenue quarter to quarter has been going down. I mean, just to be honest with you, Carl, I don't know if this is a good fit for me because I'm a little concerned. No. See, what we're doing is we're working on that, and that's one of the reasons we created this position. See, they went on a defense because they were like, whoa. It completely, it flips shit. But see, you can't play that game if you don't have value. If you have value, the shit that you can pull is ridiculous. But if that comes from being intellectually curious and putting yourself out there and learning new stuff. There are people here on the internet you've never heard of making 2, 3, 4, 5 million a year. You may have seen them in Quick Trip doing, but they have value. They have value, and that's why they make that money, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. And you're still trying to figure out how you're going to make it. Be curious. Read a book a month. And don't read just every book that's just going to push you because, well, don't read books that's like, okay, let me say this correctly because I don't want to get myself confused. Because I get myself confused, I'm going to confuse you. Read a book a month about business. Read a book about selling. Read a book about marketing. Read a book about personal development. You can switch it up. And then read a funny book. Read a wonderful book. Read a book that will make you cry. Read a book that'll make you happy. It's going to grow you. There's something all billionaires seem to do. They all read. They all read, and they read a lot. All of them. Just Google the habits. Even going back to Cornelius Vanderbilt, they read, they educate themselves. They stay in the know. Churchill, big reader. Read. Be curious. Do not get up in that. I saw one of the most stupidest statements in a group. I can't stand to read. The shit make me angry. I left it alone. I was like, okay, you're going to hit a ceiling because, see, this is how your information is a fluid dynamic. And information doesn't disappear. It changes. It morphs. It's a chameleon. And if you've got a good base of information, you can handle those changes. But if you grab this information here and then it changes to this other form, you think it's a disconnect because you don't keep up with the information. This information is this. There was a guy by the name of Jimmy Keller, 1991. He was arrested in Mexico, brought back to the United States, and tried and convicted of fraud because he was telling people that certain amino acids made them healthier. He was mocked, imprisoned. He was intellectually curious. 1999, dude won the Nobel Peace Prize, and his research proved that Jimmy Keller was 100% correct. 100%. I mean, it just is eerie how often that conventional thinking will frequently fuck up the future. before it gets here. And then at some point when the future says, I'm coming, I don't care, I'm coming. And then it just pushes conventional thinking out of the way because it's so useful, it's so remarkable that it can't be denied. A man was put in jail and convicted of fraud for something that worked. That's blows my mind, but it's happened in history over and over and over again, because so many of the people who start the thing don't get the recognition because they're thought of crackpots or strange people, or there's something just special about him and there's just something special about her. You gotta keep my eye on that one. Don't know. One of my favorite writers, Zora Neale Hurston, in her day, they shitted on her. Everyone else was writing protest novels, and they was like, oh, she's writing all this lovely stuff. She's got this cat, she's just writing this flowery bullshit. And the one was a brilliant writer, and she was appreciated after she died. So be curious early, and be curious about a lot of things, and employ and put stuff out there. Okay, so what I'm doing, because I'm wrapping this up, what special are we going to make? Because we got an affiliate program. Just email Amy and say you want to be in, and she'll hook you up. With this, I'm going to make a special. And this is what you have to do, because this is for the folks who get to the end of the video, because you guys are the greatest or the best, because you watch these long videos, and I appreciate you. What I'm going to do is you email Amy with this phrase, because if you don't use the phrase, she's going to ignore you. I want the end of video special. I want to talk to Glendon. It's a $99 deal, and I get 20 minutes. So do this. I want the 20-minute special for $99 with Glendon. Email her, and she'll send you an invoice. And you pay the invoice, we'll set it up, because you my peeps. And with that, I'll see you in the next session.